Hi, I'm John Twist of University Motors. Today I want to talk about Lucas alternators. The first part of our Lucas series was the battery, which gets depleted after it's used for various reasons, and it has to be recharged. Our second installment of the Lucas series was generators and regulators, which is a combination, recharge the battery. But starting in 1968 with the MGBs, a little bit later with the midgets, the generator and regulator were replaced by an alternator. The alternator is a lot better unit. It's less expensive to make, and it makes electricity at a lower RPM in a smaller size and doesn't eat up quite so much energy to whirl so much stuff. So I want to take a look at the different components of the alternator and show you, how they all work and how they all work together. But first of all, remember in our generator we had a field on the outside, the magnetic lines between the fields. We had armature running on the inside, and every time we snapped a line of force, we got a little burst of electricity, which was drawn off with two carbon brushes off the armature. So all the energy being made was on the inside, the whirling part. The alternator is exactly the opposite. On the inside of the alternator, the whirling part on the inside of the alternator, this is the field, okay? And it hasn't got just two poles. Remember in the generator we had two poles. Here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, lots of them, okay? So we got lots of poles here. And this just has a little bit of electricity that dances between the poles based on some current that's run into the slip ring on the end. Just like the field in the generator, which was energized, and by controlling the magnetic field in the rotor, or the field, you can control what comes out of the output. So here we have the stator. It's a stator because it stays still. This takes the place of the armature. Remember, the armature was running on the inside, and all the electricity that came off the armature had to go through brushes. This guy is hardwired. He's hardwired. No sparking. There's no sparking here. There's no loss of energy in heat or light. In addition, this makes alternating current. And as this is whirling on the inside of here, it makes it, every time the magnetic line crosses one of these little segments on the inside, and look at how many segments there are, every time it crosses one of those segments we get a little whip of electricity out of here, but it's alternating current, hence alternator. These three wires, because it's three-phase alternating current, is put through a diode pack. The diode pack has 9 diodes in it. We'll explain a little bit more of this in the rest of this demonstration. It's got 9 diodes. Those diodes change the electricity from alternating to direct. And the controller is just this little tiny regulator. Remember in our generator regulator demonstration last time, the regulator was a great big thing with these bobbins and spools, and modern guys have used Zener diodes and made them much less complicated. But look at this. I mean, this guy is just simple. We peeled the plastic off the back of it once and it looked like the inside of the wrist of the $6 million man. There's a lot of stuff going on inside there. Anyway, let's take a look and show you what each of these components is all about. So the way you see an alternator is like this. Well, I mean, it's got a fan and a pulley on the front, but it spins and wires are connected to the back of it, and that's all that you need to know until it goes bad. And then what do you do? And how do you tell when it's going bad? Well, one plain old way to tell for sure is look at the red ignition light on the dash. When you turn the key to on, the red ignition light comes on. When you exceed 800 to 1000 RPM, the light should go out. At night, it's really dark. You can really see those infrared rays coming off that red ignition light. You step on the brakes, you shouldn't see anything. It should be absolutely dead. It should not illuminate at all. If it glows, if it winks, all these things mean different things. If it stays on bright, you know, all these different things mean different things that are wrong with the inside of the alternator. Once in a blue moon, the light indicates no fault at all, and the battery goes dead because there's a bad connection back here on the back of the alternator where the wires plug in. It's very rare, but I've seen it. So I'm going to lay out some pieces here, show you the different types of alternators. So I've got this wonderful layout here that I took during the break. Let's take a look at these. Well, first of all, you know, the back of the alternators, they on the inside, there's lots and lots and lots of small changes. I'll try to explain some of those as we go along. But when you see the back of the alternator, this is 1968, in 1968 only. This is a 16 AC alternator. This 69, 70, maybe 71, this is a 16 ACR. The R means it's got a regulator in it. And it has two plugs, one plug here, one plug here. Here we have a single plug that goes into the middle here. Those are popular up to about 77. And then we've got a very large plug, single plug up here on the very late model MGB alternators. So just for fun, this is, in Lucas terminology, this is type 1 termination that has two plugs. This is type 2 termination, which has one plug. Maybe that's why they're out of business. Well, they're out of business making our alternators. Here we go with a stator from a 15 or 16 ACR. You see the width of the stator and the width of the rotor. Then we jump up to the 18 ACR. Oh my, look at this, power. Look at how much bigger this is, okay? This guy makes a lot more amperage than the smaller one. The cases are the same. We got a front case, we got a rear case. You got excited? You want to put this on the buffing wheel and buff him up and make him look pretty? Look at that. You know, you can do that. You can make an alternator that's to die for, or you can just clean him up and have him original. The regulators, this is 1968 only. Those of you with some of the Triumphs and Jags will recognize this, the 4TR. But later, the regulator's only this size. And I showed you that before. In the world of diode packs, we have the first type of diode pack that would be in either of these. And this is a negative terminal here, and a positive terminal here. It's marked so. And it's marked also here, positive, negative, actually it goes like this, excuse me. Negative and positive. Remember that the alternators are all negative earth. I think some of the earlier Jags had positive earth alternators, but that's somebody else's job to explain that, not mine. So this regulator goes with that one, or diode pack. Then we have this diode pack, which has got it in the indicator lead and two leads here for the brown wires that come up from the solenoid. And then we've got the very wide terminal on this one, which is our indicator lead, our power lead, and a sensing lead. So these are the three types that go with the three covers that you might see on the back of your alternator. This is narrow, extra wide, narrow. This is narrow, wide, wide. And this is just wide, wide. So there are only three different diode packs that you need for your alternator. There are, however, a great number of regulators. Let's just take a look at some of these. Here's a regulator here which has got a green wire, the yellow wire, and it's grounded to the case, this guy. And let's take a look at this one here, which has got no longer a green wire. It's got a strap, but it's still got a yellow wire, and it's got a red wire up here, and it's got a really red wire here for sensing. And then there's yet another regulator that has a white wire that goes to the sensing lead on this guy. So there's lots of different regulators. This one also has a surge device, which is an expensive name for just another diode right down here, and that pops and saves everything else if the electricity backs up. And here we've got the capacitor so that we don't get a noise in our radio. Oh gosh, we wouldn't want that. Let me tell you the truth though, the only sound you should ever hear in your car is the sound of the engine. The engine alone is music enough to my ears. Buy a $15 blanking plate and get rid of that radio. Who else is going to listen to it? Except half the neighborhood as you drive down the street with the radio cranked so loud you can hear it. Anyway, personal opinion. So, those are the different types of alternators. Let me take a moment, clear this off, and we're going to show you how to test the diode pack.